Good afternoon. Like to begin by hoping that all of us are safe and well, and to those in Bombay, you've been particularly impacted by the tail end of the cyclone as well. So I just hope everything is fine there. Dr. Joseph Suri, past president FICCI and chairperson and managing director of Lalit Suri Hospitality Group. Dr. Vinod Noval, deputy MD, JSW Steel. Dr. Akshay Batra, co-chair FICCI Wellness Committee and vice chairman and managing director, Dr. Batra's Healthcare. Mr. Ajay Poddar, MD, Syenergy Environics. Varun Agarwal, CEO, Breathe Easy Consultants. My colleague Deepak Mukhi, who's the head of a Maharashtra state office. Very good afternoon to all of you. First, a very warm welcome to all the panelists and the participants to this webinar on workplace wellness and productivity. We are in unprecedented times, and the COVID pandemic has not only impacted the economy, affecting significant business disruptions across industries, but has also impacted the demand side and is altering consumer behavior and preference rapidly. As the pandemic progresses around the world and recovery rates go up and immunity takes center stage in fighting the coronavirus infection, a lot of consumers, millions, in fact, almost billions of consumers will look to change their lifestyle and will adopt to a healthier regime to build a strong immune system. This shift in behavior, just as the COVID pandemic opened a whole new business for mask sanitizers, ventilators, and other health products, this shift in behavior will also open new avenues and markets for wellness products and also service providers here. Global studies have indicated a very strong correlation between workforce wellness, initiatives leading to higher productivity and better performance. And given that it is work from home for a lot of people even going forward, the need will just multiply as we go forward. It is also started to integrate in many organizations' core values in India, both in the workplace and work from home scenario. While well-being of employees has direct impact on the performance and productivity of the organization, it also helps indirectly in cutting the healthcare costs of employees and an attractive place for people to work and improve the image of an organization as a socially responsible one. Today's webinar, and it'll focus on deliberating some of the benefits of running workplace wellness programs. And each one of the panelists is actually either implemented something in their organization or their organization actually helps implement this in other organizations. So each one of the panelists brings a very specific aspect and relevance to this webinar. So first, a very warm welcome to each one of the panelists, and thank you very much for agreeing to share your views and your knowledge and understanding of this sector with the larger membership of FICCI. I hope the sessions will be very engaging and fruitful for all the participants. As of now, we have over nearly close to 130 people who have logged on. I would like to especially thank Mr. Ajay Poddar and his team for supporting us in organizing this webinar, and Deepak and the chair and the co-chair of the Wellness Committee for leading this initiative. And I'm sure under their leadership, we will have more such initiatives to the benefit of industry. So thank you all for joining, and over to you, Deepak.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for setting the context of the program and why we are doing it. The agenda has been circulated already, and I would request Mr. Ajay Poddar, who's the moderator of this session, to set the tone for the rest of the session and then start the panel discussion. So, Mr. Poddar, over to you.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you, Dilip, for your wonderful words of welcome to the panelists and to all the participants. Dilip has quietly and super efficiently done it all, from CII to Chief Honcho of SIAM and then NSDC, and now he's turning around things at FICCI. Thank you, Deepak, and your team, the whole FICCI team, for organizing this successful webinar. A hearty welcome to all our esteemed panelists on behalf of Syenergy Environics and of course FICCI. Thank you for taking time out from your busy schedules to share your professional learnings, insights on wellness and recommendations on the way forward for corporates in particular and the community in general. The panel consists of 2 important business leaders and 3 wellness providers, including us, our company. To set the context of this discussion, 5 years back, we would not have had a panel of this eminence discussing wellness. And we would not, why has the workplace wellness become so important? Have we realized the power of we care branding? Have we become more socially responsible? Or have we realized that wellness of people at workplace is the bedrock for economic wellness, which Dilip also alluded to? A study by the Harvard University on 600 corporates has found that $1 spent on wellness increases the profitability of $3.23. So this is quite significant. We also know that employers more recently in our country who had discarded the migrant workers are now bending backwards to call them back. The COVID menace has brought workplace immunity, wellness and stress management center stage like never before. If 2 people in our or our neighbors' establishments get sick, our organization could be closed down. Data collected by us over the years in the course of our work has shown that lack of well-being and higher stress results in higher absenteeism and attrition and lower productivity. The mental, emotional, and physical well-being of our employees should therefore become every business leader's business. I will begin my personal introduction of all the panelists and request them to share 2 or 3 key attributes that have made them super achievers. Then I would ask them to share their key wellness initiatives in the second round that they have implemented or recommended. And I and the other panelists will also answer questions from the participants. We've received actually a lot of questions. And so I'll start with Jyotsna ji. When I briefly met Jyotsna ji in the early 80s, I was mesmerized. She exuded charm, kindness, and confidence. She still does. I was supplying hollow blocks to hasten the construction of Bharat hotels before Asiad 82. She managed all the hotels which Lalit ji built or acquired without being center stage. In 2006, of course, as we all know, she took over as chairperson and managing director. And her hotel is probably the most prominent domestic privately held group, and I think about 2,300 rooms or maybe more as of last count. She has been conferred the Order of the Rising Sun, Gold and Silver Star by the Japan government for strengthening strategic ties between India and Japan in economic and tourism sectors. I know that the Japanese, I've run some joint ventures with them. They're very difficult to please, and they do their due diligence very well. She is the first Indian woman to have received this honor since its commencement for foreign nationals in 1981. She's been recipient of scores of national and international awards and recognitions and has been featured by renowned publications. I'm not going into the details. She is the second woman president of FICCI's 100-year-plus-year history. She's won accolades for herself and for the chamber. And she is a member of the Board of Governors of the National Council for Hotel Management and Catering Technology and member of the Board of Governors of the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs. In these difficult times, she continues to burn the midnight lamp to take up issues with the government on behalf of the tourism and hospitality industry. And she still goes for a morning walk. So on wellness, she walks the talk. I have found her to be a tough but caring mentor and employer. She has amazing aesthetic sense and knows every little detail about each of her properties, right up to which paintings are hung in which room. I've seen the wonderful working conditions that she's created for her employees in the underbelly of the hotels, which nobody visits. All her senior executives and hotel managers worship the ground she walks on. The hospitality at the hotels, I have visited about 8 of her hotels, can be described in one word, according to me, Punjabiyat. The khatir and khana are out of this world. 6 years back, she understood the value of implementing radiation management solutions in our hotels. I have been fortunate to receive her affection and appreciation for the work that we have done and continue to do at her properties. Jyotsna ji, I would like you to share with us your key learnings as a leader and the personal attributes and approaches that define you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Ajay ji. That was really, really awesome to hear all the good things that you had to say about me. But let me tell you that I respect and admire you equally as you do me. So Ajay ji, as you said already, the well-being of my employees is of prime importance to me. And I go into every detail that I possibly can to make sure that the working environment is conducive and that the people have the comfort that they deserve, so that clearly the reason for that is that the output has to be equally important. And if the working environment is good, the output is going to be extremely good as well. For myself, I have, I think the biggest quality, as I might call it, is that I am a very persevering person. I don't give up. And this is a motto that came to me from my school, which said, never give in. So in the adversities, and I've had numerous adversities in my life, I've never ever given up, and I have actually pursued what I believe is correct. And I've always come out and I've always emerged victorious. So that's one thing that I would like to share with everyone, and that is that if you believe in something that you really truly believe in, you must persevere it and don't give up despite all the obstacles that you may encounter. The other is, of course, discipline. And I lead a very, very disciplined life. As you rightly said, whatever time it may be that I sleep, at 6 o'clock, I'm out for my morning walk. I walk for an hour. I then swim for half an hour. And then that's what sets my tone for the day, keeps me going all the rest of the day. And yes, I do really care for the well-being of the people who work for me. I consider them to be a large family. They're not my employees. They're all members of my family. And yes, 6 years ago, so while I was trying my level best to make the working environment conducive, I did realize that radiation is one of the negatives that all of us are facing. We are very much dependent on technology, and that technology does emanate radiation. And that's when I met Ajay ji, and he introduced me to Environics. And since then, I have had all my hotels visited by them. They have a very competent team, and this team visited every single hotel of mine, and they did what I believe was very beneficial to us, taking care of the environment from something that is not visible, because clearly we don't see the harmful effects of the radiation. We feel them, but we feel them too late. And I'm appreciative of what they did for me. So thank you very much, Ajay ji, for bringing in this technology of yours. And it's now in every single hotel of mine, including the hospitality school. And I'm very pleased with the outcome of it. So thank you very much, Ajay ji, and it's back to you now.
Thank you. Sorry. So that was, yes, her perseverance and discipline are, of course, these are the takeaways. Now I'd go to Vinod ji. Vinod ji is the Deputy Managing Director of JSW Steel, the largest integrated steel plant conglomerate of India. He joined the Jindal Group as the works manager of their Tarapur plant in 1984. And through sheer hard work and dedication, he rose to become the director and CEO of JSW Steel Limited at Vijayanagar in 2009. He spearheaded the meteoric growth of the plant from 4 million tons to 12 million tons per annum, and which became really the largest steel plant. And he has run his steel plant. I was surprised when I went there. I felt I had stepped into a 5-star hotel. And then, of course, so each plant looked like a 5-star hotel, and it was a coal-based steel plant. And then I saw that there was actually a 5-star hotel in the complex. He had got the Hyatt Group to actually put up a 5-star hotel within the plant premises. He's, of course, won many awards. They've won the Prime Minister's Trophy for the Best Integrated Steel Plant 12-13. Only steel company in India to rank 7th in the year 2019 by World Steel Dynamics, and given a recognition of quality by the Deming Prize 2018. He's on the board of several JSW companies and sits on the board of the group. And of course, many organizations like the Karnataka Iron and Steel Manufacturers Association, the MS Ramaiah Institute of Technology. He's an MBA and a PhD. He's done an advanced management program from Harvard. And I admire the way he combines competence and warmth. He leads by example and gentle persuasion, instilling enthusiasm and confidence and boosts people performance. He's exceptionally courteous, sometimes embarrassingly so. And I look forward to meeting him every time I go to Mumbai if he's in town, because I come back more enriched. He has the perception to realize the value of our offerings towards boosting productivity and well-being, and has made sure that our work is implemented in all his plants. He operates on the principle, smile and the world smiles with you. Over to you, Vinodji.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Poddarji, for good words for me. And I'm very much thankful to FICCI also for this webinar. Good evening to everyone. Today's webinar topic is immunity and productivity at work. High immunity is essential and is much needed to fight against COVID-19 that everybody is facing today. As we all know, there is no medicine, no vaccine, or no treatment available for coronavirus. Only high level of the immunity can help you to resist to this virus and to stay fit and safe. At the same time, your high confidence and motivation will help you to maintain the productivity. On leadership, in my opinion, a successful leader is the one who takes the team along with and leads from the front. People see him as their role model due to his contribution and attitude of leading by examples. Always I find what is next. I don't want to give up, but always I plan for B plan or what is the next for me instead of accepting that I can't go move further. Since I am from the steel industry, as Poddarji is also mentioning, and represent JSW Steel, this industry contributes to 2% of the GDP of India. The consumption of steel, cement, and power is the true barometer of the country's economy. India is the second largest steel producer in the world after China, but the productivity level of steel in India is not very high. If you compare JSW Steel per person, productivity is 1,065 ton per person per annum, whereas our competitors is ranging from 265 to 850 tons per annum per person. Whereas in Japan and Europe, it is around 1,600 tons per annum. Those corporates does not take care of well-being of their employees. They lose the good employees. Everybody knows it. if we don't treat them well, we don't take care of them, we don't create a very healthy environment in the organization, good people are there to somebody can poach, and we will keep with us only the mediocres. So it is better actually organization has to focus on the people's health, people's motivation and well-being of the people. To improve this aspect, industry should focus on the health and well-being of their employees. We should keep them rightfully motivated and engaged so that they can give their best. There is a lot of negative energy around us due to various factors and reasons. In this regard, Environics not only helped us to measure the concerns, but also neutralized and corrected them. For example, in our Vijayanagar plant, we are having DRI plant, BF1, there is a name of the furnace numbering, you can say, tar processing units, and they were performing very poorly. When Ajayji has met and explained to us, we thought why we should not experiment it. So they have sent their team and they have corrected, and the performance is more than the normal now with all these facilities. Same time, the same experiment with their help we did in our Dolby plant, which we took over from the Mittals. Same thing we did in Monet Steel plant in Raigad and Salem in Tamil Nadu. So the results of their corrections are very, very encouraging, and we are thankful for them. So only my point is here, we must keep ourselves motivated in this coronavirus time and keep motivation among our employees. And I'm sure we will fight this and we will be the winner. Thank you. Over to Poddarji.
Thank you, Vinodji. That was very important. Take care of your people and they take care of you. So now I go to Barun. Barun Agarwal. Barun returned from the US and picked up the gauntlet thrown by his father-in-law, Kamalbhai Mittal, who runs the iconic Paharpur Business Center, which boasts of the cleanest air in any building, perhaps worldwide. Barun founded Breathe Easy Consultants, Breathe Easy, I hope I've got the name right, the leading indoor air quality solutions company in India. He is a founding member and director of Indoor Air Quality Association USA India chapter. He is a prominent member and contributor to ISRE. He is a climate reality leader trained by Vice President Al Gore. He teaches human wellness in the built environment at the SPA, School of Planning and Architecture, and he is sought after as a he teaches. He also has written a book. He's written a book called "You Can Grow Air." So that is what Barun has done, and he's also a leader in his space and is a sought after thought leader and webinar speaker. Barun, do share the attributes that led you from frustration to success. At one point of time, he was so frustrated with people not understanding that air quality is so important for themselves and their family. And but now I think it's changed a lot, but he's been persevered with his pursuits. So Barun, please tell us about what makes you what you are. Yes, and how you look forward.
Well, a very good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Thank you very much, sir, for having me on this platform. Thank you to the FICCI team for organizing this and having me here. Very delighted and actually humbled to be part of such an esteemed panel. Very interested and keen to learn more. And I think one of the main attributes that I would give to myself is I'm a learner for life. For me, learning should never stop for anybody, whether you're a leader or not. And for me, that is something that I pride myself in terms of learning and reading So my learning never stops, and that is what has helped me in broaden my horizons in terms of understanding of people at the workplace and in terms of the work that I do. I come from a very different background. I don't know if that comes out in the bio that was read, but the business of wellness and air quality is something that I picked up only 8 years ago. I've done too many different things in my life. And if anybody understands the entire background, you'll be amazed that how can one person actually do such different things in their lives. So I call it being a very eclectic person, because I've been able to be a commodities broker to cutting edge technology, marketing and sales professional in the United States, lived in 4 continents, done a whole bunch of things. And now my passion is wellness. The other part is, the discipline, what Dr. Suri mentioned. Discipline, I think, is a common thread. For me, it's very important. I'm part of Robin Sharma's 5 a.m. club. I try and wake up as early as possible. And those morning hours that I put into myself is what reaps the rewards for the rest of the day for me. If I miss that morning's routine, even once or twice in a fortnight, it shows the performance of the rest of the day actually shows. And so that morning 2 hours, 3 hours that I try to dedicate to myself, whether it's my meditation or my yoga or my run or my walk, and I like to keep doing different things. It's not the exact same routine, but it is those 2 hours that I dedicate to myself, which gives me the results from a discipline perspective for the rest of the day. The focus, the mindset is set up in those first 2 hours in the morning, which I believe gives me the success for the rest of the day. So from a leadership perspective, I'd talk about that. And coming to wellness, I'll quickly just set the tone for the rest of the conversation that I want to talk about. My son was doing a project in school on wellness, and he came to me and he asked me, what is the meaning of wellness if I had to write it in one single word? And I had to think about this. I said, how do you explain wellness in one word? I take hours talking about wellness because I teach that as a course at the School of Planning and Architecture. How do I sum it up in one word? And the answer finally dawned on me that it's happiness. Wellness can be summed into one word, which is happiness. If Bhutan as a country can measure gross national happiness, then why can't we start measuring happiness and productivity of people in every building? And that's why we started the whole premise of wellness in buildings. And at Paharpur Business Center, as you mentioned, my father-in-law set up that building as a wellness building. And he not only initially from an energy perspective, but from a human productivity and happiness perspective. And today, standards have been created following his practices in that building. We have 7,000 natural plants inside the building, which ensure we have perfect air quality. He has also ensured that he has the radiation solutions that you have to ensure that whatever discrepancies there were from a geopathic stress perspective, from a radiation perspective, are taken care of in that building. So there are 7 key concepts that I'll talk about later on wellness, which we have ensured that we introduce in all our workspaces, whether it's our office, whether it's our home, whether it's any other facility. And that we've seen the results. It talks for itself. And the number one benefit that we see when you actually implement wellness in your facility is employee turnover. The reduction of that turnover, because employees are happy where they are, is one of the biggest benefits that you can get, because that churn in employees, the effort and cost that it takes to train someone and bring them up to speed is tremendous for any organization. And if you can bring that number down by investing in wellness, you've got a winning point. So thank you again for having me, and look forward to the rest of the webinar.
Sorry. Thank you, Varun. Glad that you told us about the other aspects of your journey. Finally, to Dr. Akshay Batra. He is the 3rd generation homeopath and is the managing director of Dr. Batra's, the world's largest chain of homeopathy clinics, with 200 clinics across 6 countries. He has close to 20 years of medical experience. I thought you looked 20 years old. So, and yes, he is the winner of the Robert Olding Award and the Youth Icon Award for Homeopathy. His father, Mukesh ji, has brought homeopathy out of the closet. And I think he and Akshay can give a master class to all of us on marketing with effective advertisement and social engagement. He has positioned their enterprise in the forefront of wellness. They have reduced the bald population of India and the world. Dr. Batra, Akshayji, I will have a word with you at the end of this session about my shining pate, and I hope you will be able to help me. He is the co-chair for FICCI's Wellness Committee and a true ambassador of wellness. Akshayji, do share your success mantra and that of your group and what future holds for you and humanity. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here on behalf of FICCI. Since I'm the co-chair of the Wellness Committee, I'd like to thank you all for putting this session together and being here today. Let me start by confessing I'm not a part of the 5 a.m. club or the 6 a.m. club like Barun or Dr. Suri. I'm part of the 7 a.m. club, but that works well for me. I think the fact that I look young, thank you Ajayji for the compliment, is the fact that I'm happy. And I think that's most important. And if I were to, talk about my journey, I think the first thing is that when I was younger, my parents asked me what I wanted to do. And I was always very clear that I wanted to be a homeopathic doctor because I had always seen all the good work that my parents and my grandparents had done. When I joined my father's practice after passing out, we were 3 clinics. Today we are in 200 clinics across 6 countries. So I've been more than part of the journey. And I think the one thing that has led us here is passion. Because if you have passion as an entrepreneur, you have passion about talking about what you do, about spreading the goodness of what you do, which of course I see amongst the panelists here. I think passion is the one thing that always keeps you going against all odds, against all difficulties. So that's the one thing that I would say defines us at least. The second couple of things that I've learned as a leader have actually been through my medical training. And one of them is how to listen. Because as a doctor, you have to listen to your patients to understand their symptoms and to understand the said and the unsaid. So I think how to listen is a very important part of leadership. The second thing, again, I learned as a doctor is how to be inquisitive, because you have to dig deeper to find out what symptoms the patient is really suffering from. And similarly, you have to dig deeper into finding out new entrepreneurial solutions for your business and also how to solve problems in your business. And the third thing I learned as a doctor, of course, which is very important, is empathy. We try to see how we practice empathy across everything we do and live those values. Coming to wellness, Dr. Batra's, of course, is the world's leading chain in homeopathy. And we have a team of 400 doctors that work with us across 6 countries. Homeopathy is actually, India is the largest market for homeopathy in number of patients. And France is the largest number in terms of value. But of course, homeopathy is almost synonymous to immunity. And whenever you think of immunity, you think of homeopathy and how homeopathy can improve your immune system. And as we get deeper into the discussion today, I will talk about what we are doing to help corporates and people improve their immunity through homeopathy. Thank you.
Thank you, Akshay. That was very insightful. Passion, how to listen to the said and the unsaid, and empathy. These are great learnings for everybody who's there. I request the organizers to put up the 3 poll questions now, because the audience has been quietly listening and we want some action from them.
So we've just launched the first question. I will get a minute to answer this. The screen would be popping up, can request everyone to please share their answers. We'll end the poll in 10 seconds. I think still a lot of people have not polled, so request them to just press the button, yes or no. Okay.
Okay, I think we can move on.
Yep. So this was the first one where we talked about the employee wellness program, and I think so 60% people are also saying that they do have. So we'll move on to the second poll.
Yeah. Everybody should be answering this.
Yeah.
Everyone uses a mobile phone.
So 66% audience has polled so far. Request another 20 seconds if rest of them can also answer.
I think we can move on. We can move on. Let's go to the third question, please. Can't hear you. Yeah, go to the, I've been telling you. Let's go to the third question, please. Is there the third question? Yes. And pull kar de. Okay, I think we've got the general trend. We've got a fair bit of answers.
Okay, so can we close this now?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Okay, thank you, participants. Yeah, we can remove that, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so on the wellness practices, the jury is pretty much divided. There are 40% people who still have to do something about it, and they better do something fast. And I guess the 60% who are already doing things can do more. On the mobile phone, I'm glad to know, I thought the percentage will be somewhere around 90% people using more than 3 hours. But I think that there are a lot of people who are very careful and aware. And I was surprised that 36% already know about geopathic stresses. So that's quite heartening. So can we, how do we remove this? Yeah, okay. So now I'll just go on. I'd like to inform all the people in this audience that those who stay till the end will be entitled to amazing benefits and freebies, like things like risk assessment surveys, welcome wellness talks, etc. So stay on. Now I'd like to take the liberty of introducing myself and our work briefly. I come from a business family which has been in business for about 150 years. I was the first person in my family and one of the few from the business community in Calcutta to do engineering at IIT. I waded through concrete, LPG cylinder manufacture, bottling and marketing, LPG under our own brand, automated multi-level parking, etc., till I made my research and passion for learning my business. Syenergy Environics corrects negative ground and radiations and electrosmog emanating from gadgets, Wi-Fi, mobiles, towers, etc. All solutions are non-intrusive, scientific, and data validated. I will show you a couple of slides to visually highlight the problem that we should know about. While that slide is being put on, yeah, so we call them, it's gone off, it's not there. I can't see.
Visible, sir. We can see the slide.
Okay, we can see that. Okay. So we call them everyday radiations because they affect them every day, us every day, and they are there everywhere. So the first one is, if you go on to the next slide, you see that, do you see your office now? Is it your work desk or is it a stress desk? It's almost like a war zone. So you see that there are so many gadgets lying on our table and they are all emanating various kinds of radiations. You can go to the second one. I can't see it. Yeah. So how do you know you are impacted? So these are some of the kind of things that could happen to you. You could feel tired, you could feel lethargic, you could be having headaches, aches and pains. You can have higher attrition from certain seats or departments or areas. And you could have reported breakdowns. You could have 6 machines at a place of the same make bought at the same time and only one breaks down. Or you could have accident-prone zones. So these are some of the things. So radiation protection is not a choice, but a necessity. So either you abstain from usage or you move your spaces, you move to spaces which are safer, or you have to seek protection. So there are some questions. You have the question printout. So maybe we can take them later. I thought we'll take it because there were a few questions, but maybe we can take it later. So Vinodji, now we'll go on to the second round. Please tell us about your key initiatives on wellness that you take, some things which you think are unique. And how is the journey? How did you look at wellness 10 years back? I remember that, earlier people used to do things for wellness on the demand of unions or when they felt that they had to do it, but they didn't link it to the economic well-being of the organization. So tell us about some of your initiatives.
Yeah, well, Poddarji, in all our locations, in steel we have 9 locations, in the group we have almost 15 locations. So as per the size of the plant, first we create good hospital facilities for employees. Same time we create good recreation facilities, whether like gym, sports activities, they can perform. Then we plan it out all the games in that. We encourage people they should participate. Same time we conduct a lot of yoga classes. We invite a lot of experts who can give them a lot of training and exercise for how they can release their stress. And same time, if anybody has any issues, then we can provide the help of the doctors, actually how they can come out from they or their family members from any type of the issues are there. So, and same, in their schools, all the locations we have the schools, encourage the children to participate and take care of their whatever concerns are there for the good schooling for the children. So likewise, GSW Group always take care of their employees and treat them like the part of the larger family of that. That's why we can say with the pride, we don't have a single location we don't have any location where we have the union. This is the very big thing actually. In Vijayanagar, we have 30,000 people, but our people, they don't know actually what the union activities and how they represent through the union. So these are the result of when you take care of your employees, their well-being, and you keep a motivated team, and you provide them before they think. So it creates a very healthy environment where you get a very good productivity. We don't lose a single hours for negotiations or any union activities or any strike. This I can say is a really good example of that.
I wanted to ask you, do you have something called like a wellness index? So when you are doing things for people, how do you compare?
So we have actually, we engage some agencies, and those agencies, they keep some measurement of that. One, you can say like HRA, we keep it, any risk assessment. That is one, to know about actually what well-beings are there, whether it is enough and people, they are satisfied with them. So this type of the index, time to time we maintain it on that. Health risk assessment, HRA.
Okay, fine. Thank you. That's good. And this is quite a thing that you don't need unions and everything. So Akshay ji, I'll come to you straight away because you are a direct wellness provider and healer. So do share with the audience the key benefits of homeopathy and your work, and some tips on what individuals and organizations can do for themselves.
Sure. So I think the first thing is that, like I mentioned, homeopathy is actually synonymous with immunity, because the whole basis of homeopathy is to actually strengthen your immune system so that you can fight prevalent illnesses and not fall sick as often. One of the things that is also associated with homeopathy is long-term cure. If you hear this, people believe that homeopathy takes time, which it doesn't. It's actually a misnomer. But they do understand that once you take homeopathy, it cures you from the root. And the reason for that is that homeopathy actually strengthens your immune system. Now, I actually think of the immune system of a body very similar to a battery of a mobile phone, if you were to sort of measure them similarly. And the best time to charge your immunity or the battery of your phone is when it's already close to full. So one of the things in immunity is that you should not really wait till you fall sick. You should avoid illness by having a strong immunity. So before you fall sick is actually the best time to raise your immunity. What we've been doing at Dr. Batra's in the pandemic is, of course, helping corporates also to raise the immunity of their people. Homeopathy actually was a precursor to vaccination. When the founder of vaccination was 8 years old, homeopathy was founded. And homeopathy also believes in giving small substances in small doses, which is very similar to vaccination. So we've used that principle for the pandemic. Homeopathy is used in many pandemics before, in chikungunya and the plague, and in many, many pandemics. And we also have been using it now. We've tied up with companies like India Infoline Limited, IIFL. We've tied up with the Indiana Group, with Paulson Limited, and we've given their employees homeopathic immune building medicines. I also spoke about being empathetic earlier. And I'd also like to say that one of the things my group has done is distributed 50 lakh doses of the immunity building medicines free or subsidized, including to the police force of Maharashtra and many NGOs. So basically that's what we're trying to do right now. And these medicines work largely for a lot of people. We found that not a single patient who's taken these immunity building medicines has actually reported being COVID positive, which is a really very, very successful sign for now. And the government of Maharashtra Ayush Ministry is also backing these medications.
Wow, very good. So what can people do for themselves? Any tips what people can do apart from taking the medicine? You'd like to tell them something?
Yeah, sure. I think the basic tips are, the first is that, mental health is going to be a big challenge during the lockdown, and mental health and happiness and immunity play a very important role. So if you keep yourself mentally happy, if you keep your mental health in check, I think your immunity will certainly be stronger. So that's the first thing. Take time out from your busy schedule. I've seen some of the questions that people have asked. How do I balance my life right now? Take time out, structure your day, make sure that you do things that, make you happy. Spend time with your children. Give the people in your family who are isolated with you a big hug every day, because physical touch with your loved ones also is very important. So you can do that safely with people who are locked down with you. Coming to exercise, I know a few people who have taken this goal of losing weight during the lockdown, and that's a great goal. But remember that Rome wasn't won in a day. So don't try to overcome all your challenges in one day and go to a very serious program of exercise, because that can actually lower your immunity if you fall sick, if you over-exercise. So build it up gradually. And the third thing I'd say is also that food and immunity play a very important role. So try and eat healthy. Try and eat local foods that are available to you right now, and not things that are coming from imported markets. Have a balanced diet. Try and include lots of vitamins in your food and in your diet. Green leafy vegetables are always great. I think these are some of the common tips that you can follow to raise your immunity.
Thank you. One question which I'd like you to answer is, should antibodies test be carried out to identify asymptomatic employees before they show symptoms to save that employee and others do well in time?
So the question is whether we should conduct antibody tests for asymptomatic patients, correct?
Yes.
So the question is medically incorrect, because an antibody test is conducted for those people who have already had COVID. Once you have COVID, you then develop antibodies against it.
Yeah. Okay.
The test for COVID positive, to find out if you're COVID positive as per the governments right now, is not freely available. Because, we've been running clinics across 200 locations, and we also contemplated whether we should test our staff to see whether they're COVID positive before we let them come into work. But the challenge is that the government of India does not allow you to test any asymptomatic patient, because the number of kits are limited. So only if you have a fever and if you go to a doctor and if the doctor thinks that you could be COVID positive, that is when you are given a test. So my suggestion for workplace safety, because that's sort of the question, is that 1, you should use your temperature guns. Number 2 is you should have a screening of your employees. They should tell you whether they are symptomatic or not on their own before coming to work. That should be mandatory. You should try and avoid calling people to work who are from containment zones. And of course, number 4 is you should follow all your social distancing protocols at the office and the workplace as well.
Okay.
I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. So I'll now go on to Varun. Can you? You have so much to tell us on how to take care of air quality. I see that you have now ventured into providing solution for molds too. Tell us about the problem and the solutions available for both. I'd also like to know how the effects can be measured and experienced. One is, of course, it can be measured by the AQI and things like that. But how can people measure it on themselves, how they can experience it? And also some of the questions, I think there are 1 or 2 questions which you can answer well about oxygen levels, and some of the other things, we'll come to that.
All right, so I'll try and address the points that you mentioned. First, you and I are in a somewhat of a very similar business. We make the invisible visible. With air quality, initially everybody, when I started the business back in 2012, when there was really no awareness about the problem of air pollution, everybody used to tell me that I've gone crazy. Okay, earlier we had to pay money for water. Now he's going to make us pay money for air as well. But the reality is that the air that we breathe, we drink 3, 4, 5 liters of water, and we're very particular about the quality of water that we drink. But each adult breathes about 12,000 liters of air in one day. But are we particular, or are we careful about the quality of that air that we're breathing? What are the pollutants in that air that are going in? But it's invisible, right? So what you can't see, it's very difficult to understand what is happening. However, we have been able to make the invisible visible with technology. There are very clear, scientifically proven technologies available today which can measure air pollution. All the different parameters, whether it is PM10, PM2.5, even PM1, the smallest particles that go into the human body and have a huge impact on every organ. It's not just the lungs and the throat that has an impact from air pollution. Even our brain, our heart, our kidneys, our liver, our reproductive system has a huge impact on the air that we breathe. The air that we breathe, the pollution that we breathe can have a huge impact on all the organs of the human body. So people don't think about the air, and we have been able to make that invisible visible by putting numbers in front of it. So when you can measure it with scientific guarantee and proof, with a device which actually can measure each and every different pollutant, it makes it real, it makes it visible. And if I can show the before and after by removing those pollutants in your indoor space, it becomes much better. A lot of people tell me that, but my immunity will come down if I breathe clean air. Completely opposite. If I go back to them and I tell them just the opposite of that, would you give your children a packet of cigarette to smoke every day? The answer is obviously not. Because if you think your immunity will go down by breathing clean air, the corollary or the opposite of that should be true, that give your children a packet of cigarettes to smoke and their immunity will become very high. We know that is not true. So obviously, by breathing clean air, we are keeping our lungs clean and we are improving the quality of life, and we're improving the ability of our lungs to fight back when we have problems such as this. I want to address two quick issues, one related to COVID, actually both related to COVID-19. One of them is with regards to air conditioning and HVAC systems. There's a lot of confusion right now with regards to should we use HVAC systems, how should we use HVAC systems, and what the temperature should be, should there be a draft, how are we supposed to do it? I was part of the ISHRE committee, the Indian Society of Heating, Refrigeration and Air Conditioning Engineers, where we designed a document on guidance for HVAC systems related to COVID-19. And very quickly, there are 5 pillars associated with COVID-19 and HVAC systems. The first pillar is temperature. The second pillar is relative humidity. The third pillar is ventilation, fresh air. Very, very important to bring outside air, ventilate your space, whether through natural ventilation by keeping your windows open or through forced ventilation systems with proper filtration so that you don't bring pollutants from outside. The fourth pillar is draft, the speed at which the air is coming to you and going back into an air conditioning system.